from Comcast Dana Wilson joins us. First, some supporters to thank, and thank you for listening. This episode is supported by CCW Digital. Leaders responsible for operations, information technology, contact centers, customer care, service, and support are invited to register for a free CCW Digital membership. Membership includes networking with 100,000 plus qualified industry professionals, quarterly executive research reports, product matchmaking, and more. Go to ccwdigital.com to join the community. This episode is also supported by the CCW Conference and Expo. The event will empower you to test, learn, and try the next big thing in customer experience optimization. Are you interested in mining data across touch points for personalized and predictive data? Are you trying to integrate your systems to get a more complete view of the customer? Are you figuring out what innovations to invest in? Chatbots, virtual assistants, AI, VR, biometrics, to name a few? Go to callcenterweek.com to register. Vice President of Customer Assurance for Comcast, Dana Wilson, joins us and shares that very early on in her life, she had a love of math, science, and engineering. She went to Drexel University and majored in chemical engineering. She graduated and became a process engineer at Philadelphia Gas Works, and it was there that she realized that in any new situation, you have to become a student. She seeks to educate herself before doing what's next. After working as a chemical engineer at Dow, she became a Six Sigma black belt, where she found a way to bridge the technical acumen that she had while developing leadership skills. After running process improvement for the city of Philadelphia, Dana worked on the Olympics for Comcast, eventually landing in CX. Welcome to CCW Digital on B2B IQ. I'm your host, Seth Adler. Download episodes on ccwdigital.com or through our app in iTunes, within the iTunes podcast app, in Google Play, or wherever you currently get your podcasts. Dana Wilson.
You're the boss.
Yeah. Well, I don't think so, is my point. I'm getting a boss vibe from you, is my point. Is that fair?
That is fair.
That is fair. Is that why you smile so brightly? Because, deep down inside, you're the boss type of thing?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But, it never hurts to smile.
It never hurts
right?
to smile. It never
it's a
hurts.
Healthy thing.
It is a healthy thing. You're from Philadelphia.
I am from Philadelphia.
You're from Philadelphia.
No, I'm not from.
Oh, where are you from?
I'm from Baltimore.
Baltimore. Okay.
Yes.
Aren't you supposed to say Baltimore? Aren't we supposed to roll over the T?
Baltimore.
Baltimore, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And but you work for Comcast, which is definitely a Philadelphia.
Yes.
Yes.
And I've been in Philadelphia for 20 years.
Oh, for a long time.
Yeah.
Did you go directly from Baltimore to Philadelphia, or no?
Yes, I did.
You did?
Yes.
So it's those two cities.
Those two cities.
All right. How do they compare?
They're very similar.
Mm-hmm.
So they're sister cities.
Oh, they are?
They are.
Did they know that they're sister cities?
Yes, they
Okay.
do. Most people do.
Oh, sure. Yeah, but I'm from New York, so I'm,
That's totally
I'm
different.
ignorant is the point. Blissfully ignorant.
Totally. You're in your own world.
Absolutely.
You're out there on your own island.
It's literally.
Yes.
I live on Manhattan. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yes.
So they're sister cities.
So they're very similar.
Uh-huh.
Neighborhoods. It's a city of neighborhoods, similar to Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up in a neighborhood in West Baltimore.
West Baltimore.
Yes.
Trying to think. The Preakness.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Is outside of the city.
No, it's not.
It is inside of the city?
It is inside of the city, in the west part of the city.
In the west part of the city. And I didn't go to the Preakness. My brother-in-law was doing, he was getting his doctorate at Johns Hopkins in neuroscience.
Wow.
Yeah.
Smart.
Oh, sure.
Brilliant.
Well, I mean, you got to meet the guy. I'm kidding. Of course, he's very, very smart, and we're very, very happy to have him in the family. But I remember he transferred. The whole idea was we were going to go to the Preakness, and then the guy that he was kind of in his lab, he was in this guy's lab. He moved out to Irvine, and so we never got a chance to go to the Preakness.
Yes, the Preakness is the event.
It is now
to attend.
So for folks listening, they're probably thinking of mint juleps and hats and the Kentucky Derby. For me, I'm thinking about the Belmont Stakes because I've been there, right?
Oh, right.
In New York City.
Right.
Sure. But the Preakness is the one in the middle.
Yes.
This is the linchpin.
Yes.
Right? Of
Yes.
the, what do they call it? The,
what is it?
yeah. Why are we blanking? The Triple Crown.
Crown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The linchpin of the Triple Crown.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so describe the scene here in at the Preakness.
Well, the Preakness, I remember as a child.
Mm-hmm.
I remember as a child. Mm-hmm. So it was just a big event. People would almost tailgate around the stadium, and it's crowds and crowds of people. Yeah. It's kind of like a fair, but my parents, they weren't necessarily into horse racing like that. So it would be more of the event outside of the Preakness rather than, and I heard the inside was, everybody had a great time, just like any other horse race or thing like that. So.
Or thing with thousands of people at it. Tens of thousands of people, right?
With lots of money, betting on horses.
It sounds like a fun experience.
Yeah.
But there are very few people, really, that are into horse racing. But every year, we do this whole same thing again.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. So when did you decide that you weren't going to be a jockey? I'm kidding. What were you into when you were a kid, right? So you weren't into horse racing. What were you into?
I was into math, science, and engineering. So I was in Baltimore and went to Baltimore Polytechnic, and that was a school, kind of I guess they call them magnet schools now.
Sure.
And so
like a Bronx Science.
Yeah, I guess so, but it's totally Baltimore, like Baltimore Polytechnic.
I was poking fun right there. I'm poking the bear is what I'm doing by continually making New York references.
Yes, absolutely, and I will bring you back down south,
exactly
below the Mason-Dixon,
exactly
each time.
All right.
So I went there and I had a love for science and then engineering, and so I left and graduated Poly and went to Drexel University in chemical engineering. So
that's Philadelphia.
That's Philadelphia.
Right.
So that's how I got there.
All right. So wait a second. So when did science occur to you? Are your parents into that? No. How is that possible? Right?
Yeah, well, when you are inquisitive, I would call it, and you decide that you want to tinker and take things apart and want to know how things work, or when you like to cook and you try to recreate your own Reese cups because you really wanted them and your mom wouldn't buy you any, and you had peanut butter and you had some Nestle chocolate chips, you learn the science behind making Reese cups, and so you enjoy that as well. And they probably were the most disgusting things, but that's, piqued my interest is really how things are made.
Right.
And from, and yes, Barbie is out there, but I used to take my Barbie apart.
Sure.
So I could see how it worked. And so that is how I got into the whole engineering.
How thrilled were your parents when they saw this person trying to put stuff together, quite literally? You know what I mean?
My dad was totally thrilled because he was a contractor and a builder, right? So my mother, on the other hand, wasn't so thrilled because they were, the things that we should keep nice, like toys, and not destroy them and be very destructive, or go in the kitchen and burn chocolate, and then it smells up the whole house and has a fire alarm going off and all that good stuff. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my girlfriend used to play with little Matchbox cars because her dad used to literally build cars and is, so inclined.
Yep.
And so I am seeing the same type of interaction between the mother, who was like, I can't believe that this is what we're doing, and and the father, who is thrilled, right?
Totally. So I never got in trouble with him.
Right, not at all. Well, you would have never anyway, because you're going to be, princess. I mean, that's going to be what it is with him, right?
Totally.
Only child?
No, I have a sister.
But she's older.
She's older. I'm the baby.
See? Yeah. How did I know that?
I don't know.
That's weird. So you went to Drexel for chemical engineering, did you say?
Chemical engineering.
What was the thought there? What was the job going to be?
I wanted to essentially just make things and see how they're made. And so for me, it wasn't like civil or more traditional engineering disciplines. I wanted the chemistry part, but I wanted to be an engineer. So back then I was in 10th grade and I didn't know that chemical engineering existed until my chemistry teacher actually told me.
Right.
And I said, oh, that's cool. And then I looked up all the things and jobs that they could do, and I was super interested because you're in pharmaceutical industries. Every industry you can think of has, if you're building a product, you can leverage a chemical engineer just about for anything.
I can do what I want to do. Plus, it seems like I might be able to get paid well.
Oh, yes.
Right?
There is the money.
There you go. Right? So, so you get the degree. Did you, and you graduated?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And then did you go keep going, or did you get out and get a job?
No, I got out and got a job.
Right.
I am hands-on. I love love to work, and I love money.
Sure.
So, I think it was time to get a job and not, be a career student.
Right.
No offense to those that choose that path. But,
exactly.
It was just my time to get out there and actually practice.
Who chose you, or who did you choose?
My first job was at the Philadelphia Gas Works, and I was a process engineer in a gas plant doing gas distribution.
And so you are loving life, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm in hard hat, steel-toe shoes, Nomex. Yeah, totally.
And they're watching you come in, and they're turning around being like, are we serious about this? Right?
Right. Because average tenure was 18 years at the company.
Right.
Here comes little old me.
Yeah.
And I have all these great ideas about how we can improve plant process.
So when you realized that you were in a corporate structure that wasn't necessarily interested in everyone's feedback,
right?
How did you kind of learn new behavior? How did you learn new communication tactics to get what you wanted done?
You have to be a student.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost. And so while I say I didn't want to be a career student, I've been a career student.
Right.
in any situation, I've gone from industry to industry, and each time you have to get in, you're humble yourself and learn from the people that are actually doing the job every single day. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of frontline folks, that's plant folks. Wherever I go, I am talking to the experts to educate myself first. And that relationship is what has carried the change that I had to invoke in whatever position that I'm in, or whatever we're trying to do as a company to get it actually ignited and actually implemented.
Seek first to change yourself, essentially.
Yes.
Right? All right. So, that's early days. So we'll, move on to the next position. What was it?
That was a product engineer for adhesives and sealants for what was then Roman Haas Company, which is now Dow Chemical.
All right. And so you were making stuff, so you're even more thrilled.
Making stuff. And I was in a lab, too, because I was a scale-up engineer. And what I was doing was taking essentially what our chemists were making in their small batch and actually scaling it to commercial. And so I got the benchtop synthesis experience and leveraging my plant experience to actually partner and build products, and I worked on painter's tape. So that was really cool because then you can see your product, and we made byproduct. So essentially intermediate products. So we would partner with the actual tape client, and then we made the adhesive for the tape. And so I would get to see the tape on the shelves.
Huh. So that's interesting. The part that matters is what you would give them.
Yes. And then they had the paper.
Right. Sure. That's stuff. Wonderful. Yeah. Thanks. You're welcome.
All the pretty colors.
Blue, for some reason, comes to mind as far as painter's
tape. Purple now. It's all
there.
It's all there.
Yeah. All right. And then?
I decided, let's see what happened. I was married. I met a boy, got married, had a baby. And then I went back because I was traveling. My husband at the time actually had a job where he was a regional vice president, so he was gone a lot, and we had a very small child. So then I went back to the gas company.
Oh, you did?
For a second stint.
Because that was easy.
Because it was easy to go back for the purposes of family. And so I had to balance the work life, right? And
yes.
so, but still maintain a career. And that's where, when I returned, I actually really got into Lean Six Sigma. They were going through a business transformation.
Perfect.
And I was in the first group that got trained, the first group of black belts for the company that got trained, and I was the first to finish my project.
Of course you were, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And return a $200,000 cost savings back to them as well. So in that first project.
Okay.
So that was exciting and fun.
And then you realized that that's what you were doing.
Yes.
For the rest of the time.
For the rest of the time.
Right?
I totally loved it.
Yeah. Now, how lucky are you that you had to be taken off of the front lines of doing stuff to make sure that you could improve process as you are doing now, right?
Yes. And ideally for my career, I always knew that that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be a principal engineer where I was always kind of this me, but I knew I wanted to get into management and actually leadership. And so finding the way to bridge the technical acumen that I had, but also develop leadership skills.
$200,000. Just quickly, what did we find? What did we do?
It was a logistics project on how we got our tools and equipment out to our field operators to just install gas main, and people would literally stand in line. It was just a pure efficiency value chain project,
right?
Because they're standing in line for X number of minutes a day, and you have multiple trucks, you have multiple teams of people just standing in line waiting for materials and tools for the day. And so we were easily able to get at least $200K just in savings for actually kitting and packaging and loading the trucks the night before with the overnight shift that you had. But it's, it's not rocket science, but when you look at it, and it's a 100-year-old utility, and things were done a certain way, and policies and process, and it's unionized. We had a lot ahead of us to do the behavioral change.
Yeah. How about, it's not rocket science, but it is, manually launching a rocket, right? It's that hard to literally push a rocket off the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're talking about 200-year-old utility.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a boy or a girl, the child?
Yes, a girl.
That's a girl. Okay. And she was what age when you left the gas company?
When I left the gas company, she was about, I would say about 6-ish.
Okay. So my niece is 6 now, and she is way smarter than me, and also very interested in a lot of things, and really able to hold a conversation like my male friends who are 41. Right. She can run circles around us.
Yes.
Is that what you were dealing with at the time?
That was what I was dealing with at the time. I also decided at that time that I wanted to give back.
Okay.
And I actually went into a position as an appointed official for the city of Philadelphia under Mayor Nutter, his first term. So
get out of here.
Previous mayor's his first term.
Yeah.
And doing process improvement
for the city.
Yeah, for the city.
What was he like to work for?
Great.
Okay. Great. And what was the process that we were improving?
A number of city processes.
So
cycle times to hire for fire, prison, and police, and the inefficiency around looking at inefficiencies around things like health checks and screenings and things like that. You literally had to go to our health centers and not go to your primary care doctor and things like that. So again, policies, process, procedures that can actually save money. So that was millions of dollars in savings just in that one project, but there were many more. And in addition to building almost I would call it similar to a balanced scorecard, but you actually have a forum. So there's Philly Stat was what it was called in New York. I'll give you a nod, just a little one. Actually had that the previous mayor,
yeah.
And so you actually evaluate the efficiencies and the productivity and also metrics against the city services that are being delivered to its constituents in a forum.
Right.
It was very public, very open, and Philadelphia adopted the same thing, so I worked on that as well.
Right.
And so it was a great run.
Is that why I've got family that's in South Jersey, and so we are in Philadelphia because of that?
Yeah.
I've noticed just a change. I mean, is how much of what you did there is the change that I'm seeing in the city itself?
It's a lot. So in that administration, it was heavily based on performance. So he ran on a performance platform that you can run the city like a business, and he did that. And so I think, despite the fact it's government, it's local government, they have all of the same issues of any other city, but actually looking at how you render service and your constituency is your customer, and how you treat your customer was at the core of that administration. So I think you're seeing the fruits of that labor.
Yeah, and thank you. So low-hanging and otherwise, right, as far as the fruits?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Some was a little smoothie, dead and stinking. So.
All right, so where you gave back, thanks. Okay, fantastic.
Yep.
When did we get back into corporate America?
Then I went back in corporate America via Accenture. So I actually worked as a consultant.
Of course you did. And you did that. We're not going to talk about that because you probably did that very well, and you probably got a lot of promotions. And you.
No, it was just a stint.
Oh, that's it.
Not even a year, and then I went to Comcast.
Oh, wait a second. I just feel like you would have been so good as a consultant.
I was so good that Comcast hired me.
Oh, they just picked you up. They're like, no, you don't do that anymore. You do this. So what did they hire you to do?
I worked in Comcast Interactive Media.
Okay,
doing web and back then it was our entertainment web and mobile development, but doing the actual PMO. So all of the project and roadmap deployment and delivery. So that's where I started. And so I got to work on the London Olympics. I got to work on...
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Oh.
So across NBC, but back then is when we first acquired NBC.
Right.
And we had our first Olympics ever for the company, and being able to execute a product offering for our customers across all of our properties that we had digitally.
I'm listening to your tone, and it's not telling me that we went from one size company to a gargantuan, very different size company, delivering very different services than we were delivering before. Why am I hearing that tone of like, yeah, well, you know, it was like this little Philadelphia company, and then we got gargantuan, and then we did the London Olympics? Why are you brushing over this as though it's not a big deal?
Because every business, you have the same or similar business problems to solve, and even with scale, you know, it just makes it that more fun.
Okay.
But I think, you know, at its core, it's the work. It's the process. It is the improvements that you're making and at scale that are really, you know, I guess I sound like I'm kind of brushing it over and smoothing it over. I think it's all the same type of problems that I'm solving, you know, each time. And so it's always maybe it's a new problem. Maybe, yes, it's a different industry, but at its core, it's around changing process, changing culture, changing behaviors to have business results. And so I think I love it. It's fun. That's what I'm passionate about.
Yeah. And I know in process excellence, the brand doesn't matter. The scale, your point is, also doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. Because if you solve the problem, you apply it, you implement it, it goes to, if it's one customer or one person, to millions.
All right. What do they have you doing now? What do we got going on?
Customer experience.
All right. So now let's talk about this.
Yes.
Why does that matter, and why was it ever uncoupled from process excellence? Why are these two things? Aren't they really one thing?
They are really one thing. And so for us, we've done great at innovating. So I spent a lot of my 7 years, in a good portion of it, in our technology and product development group, delivering innovative experiences.
Such as? We said the London Olympics, but what else?
Sochi Olympics. So for the first time ever, we live stream content from Sochi onto our X1 set-top box. And so I was a part of the team that actually delivered that, in addition to running the war room operations for across our experience as well. And then after that, moved into customer experience,
right?
With my leader today, the same guy I've been with since I was at Comcast and started there. But you know, he got appointed to be our chief customer experience officer. And so in that, it comes full circle because I owned process excellence.
Look at that.
So we are looking at customer centricity. We were doing that in product development and building products with customer at the core. But now we are really holistically as a company really, really going after changing our experience. We've innovated and we, you know, number one, I will say we are top in the market for our X1 product and all the innovation that we've put into that and with our voice remote and things like that. However, we also are innovating on the experience for our customers as well.
Without asking you to kind of give away the farm here, you know, as far as what you're working on, focusing back then on the Olympics, what I noticed this last Olympics was that Olympic coverage, the whole thing had changed. Now, I feel like I'm maybe not a customer, and so I didn't know about the X1, you know, streaming offering. I think most people that I saw commenting on the delivery also didn't know that you guys were doing that. How much, as we go into a next Olympics, is this whole thing going to be completely different in your thoughts?
I think it'll be even more robust than it has been. And so when we first started, we had two properties. We had, you know, the mobile app and we had a website. And now we have this platform that's all IP based that actually you can DVR your recordings. We actually curate the content. We also now have our voice remote, so you can actually use that to get to the things you want to see as quickly as possible. So all of that is kind of coming together, and also in live streaming video as well, of content that isn't even broadcasted. And so I think when you couple all of the things that we have and all the innovation that's occurred, you will see a much bigger push and a lot of people actually talking about all of the ways they can watch the Olympics and get it wherever they are, on what platform they want it on.
So we got you.
Yep.
Right? Yep. Dana's like, we got you covered. Don't worry about it.
We got you covered. Totally got you covered.
I feel like we should talk again.
Yes.
But at this point, I want to ask you 3 final questions. I'll tell you what they are, and then I'll ask you them in order. What has most surprised you at work along the way? What has most surprised you in life? And on the soundtrack of your life, one track, one song that's got to be on there, which I kind of can't wait for. But first things first, what has most surprised you at work?
I think in a short period of time, how our entire company has really galvanized around the customer experience. And it's, you're talking a company that now, as we're talking scale, you have 80,000+ employees, and each one of the employees that work for us actually knows and embraces the fact that we are here to build a better customer experience. And we've 3 years in, and we've made such great strides in our experience that, to move a big ship like that has been amazing.
How do you know that it's not just lip service?
Because we've invested. We've invested.
I'm saying from them, from the stakeholders, the internal stakeholders. How do you know it's not just them kind of?
No, everybody's we're in budgets right now. So everybody's presentation is around the customer experience.
Got it.
So this is not lip service. The investments are being made, but people are talking differently. They are acknowledging process, which when we first started, people thought, well, okay, well, maybe, we'll use our innovation and leverage tools and technology. But everyone is saying, but we got to work. Where's the process? We need to map this process. So I think, for me, hearing people talk differently about attacking the problem, they're being more creative. Yeah. They are going gung-ho and to move fast and quickly. I think it's really, really been surprising, but also invigorating.
So if I'm a CX executive, I should hire a bunch of black belts. That's obvious. Beyond that, how did you kind of move this boulder of a rock from sitting still to rolling?
It's creative problem solving. I mean, it's definitely some of the things we talked about earlier around building relationships, understanding the process as it stands today, sitting with the people that do it every day, and literally plopping myself next to a call center agent or riding out on a truck roll with a technician, but understanding what the customer experience is as well as our employees, which is paramount. Yeah. And then being able to document that in a way that's compelling so that others that have functional responsibility to help me move that boulder are also engaged in getting in the movement with me. And so really having that level of influence, because I'm not Mr. Robertson owned the entire company, and everybody doesn't report to me. Right.
Was that hyperbole, though? Did you actually go on the truck?
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. You can't do this work without doing that. You have to be out there. You have to actually touch the people that touch the people, right? And actually listen and learn. I don't understand anyone who doesn't do that. You can't do this work well, to me.
You can't just see the truck leave. Yeah. You got to be on the truck.
Yeah, you can't just see the metrics, right? Yeah. Because we can sit behind our desk and look at all the metrics and look at all the insights. Sure. But not really experience what our customers experience and what our employees experience, more importantly.
Because if they're happy, the customer's happy.
Pretty much. And also they need the right tools and the empowerment, right? And so you get to see that as well.
What's most surprised you in life, Dana?
How quickly things have moved for me. I think that has just been surprising. You think when I sit here and have this conversation with you and I talk about all the things I've done and places I've worked and moved here and there from job to job, industry to industry, yes. I think that's pretty surprising to me because I'm a creature of habit, believe it or not.
I don't believe that. That I don't believe.
And I do, I like new and exciting things. However, I like a steady state. And so steady state hasn't been quite steady.
No, it hasn't. And I'll tell you, I feel like you have a youthful face, because when I was asking about those initial jobs, I was watching your eyes go back and like trying to find wherever that information was.
Yes.
So it's been a while is what we're saying.
It's been a while.
There we go.
Yes.
On the soundtrack of your life, one track, one song that's got to be on there.
Oh my goodness.
Now, if songs are rolling, if you're going through the Rolodex and things come up, let them come out. It doesn't have to be the perfect song, and you can certainly list more than one.
I don't know. It's been wild. One that pops in my mind, I think, because, actually being a minority and actually being a woman, mm-hmm. I think, one of the songs that I do listen to is To Be Young, Gifted, and Black. And that's originally by Nina Simone, but mm-hmm. then by Donny Hathaway. And so I think that one is the first one that pops to my head. Given our current environment, not to be political, but, I think that one would be definitely one of the tracks in my theme song.
That's an amazing song, and Nina Simone is ridiculous.
Yes.
As far as emotion. So she's got such a deep voice.
Yes, she does.
And you would think to yourself, with that deep voice, she's not going to be able to explain to you the emotions that she is mm-hmm. experiencing. Mm-hmm. That is certainly not the case. It is unbelievable how she's able to emote through that very, very deep voice.
Yes.
She's a fascinating artist.
She totally is, and one of my favorites.
There you go. Dana, this is a pleasure.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
And there you have Dana Wilson. At its core, it's changing process, changing culture, changing behavior for business results. We're innovating on the experience for our customers. Very much appreciate Dana Wilson and her time. Very much appreciate you and yours. Stay tuned.